Hello, I'm John Owens. Linda Milks asked me to put together a short video on how to break into the big magazines. Well, I'll tell you, from my experience, the best way in to the big magazines is the best way in to any place. Is with a really good, straight-ahead pitch. Don't give them a long-winded job application. What you want to do is hit the editor with your best stuff and hit them hard. Okay? Find out the editor that deals with that column, that department, those features, and direct it to them. Give them the title, the headline. If it engages them, it'll engage their readers. And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that engagement. Let me give you some good examples. I got these from Travel and Leisure. Right? 7 spots in Singapore every Crazy Rich Asians fan needs to see. You can actually sit on giant lily pads at this Taipei park. This brew train serves craft beers and scenic views of the Colorado wilderness. So you see, here we have not just destinations, but we also have very specific ways to experience these destinations. One has the pop culture reference with Crazy Rich Asians. Another is very domestic view, with going to Colorado, a new way to see Colorado, someplace, everyone has been, but why should you go back? That gives them a good hook. That's something fresh. And that you can sit on a giant lily pad in a Taipei park. I mean, come on, that's kind of fun. You can just see the photos. All right? Now, there are differences in the magazines, among all of them, and you have to know those. But the one thing they all have in common is that the stories are very specific. It's not just Singapore, but it's 7 things in Singapore. And let's say it's not just Singapore or food in Singapore, or even street food in Singapore. It is something different and more specific. Let me give you an example, okay? Let's say, Singapore's new must-try street food. 5 dishes that go way beyond noodles and blood cockles. All right, so then you figure that, you'll give them a couple paragraphs explaining this. The idea is to give them a title that tells what you got, and is kind of provocative and kind of interesting, engages them. All right? Then you have to explain why you are the person to do the story. And this is essential, because they could send themselves, they could send any freelancer they know to Singapore for probably about $1,000. Why should they send you? Well, you're going to tell them because you have the experience, you have the knowledge, you have the clips. Don't make it long-winded. Just get right to it, just like you did with the title for the story. Okay? Here's what my credentials are. Boom. All right? The thing is, you're facing so much competition. Everyone is a travel writer, and you have to prove that you are. When I was the editor of Travel Holiday, every person I met that found out what I did for a living told me that they were a travel writer. I kid you not. I was in the dentist chair. He was drilling a tooth and telling me why he should do a story about sailing in the Caribbean. All right? Now, fortunately, I was able to rinse and spit my way out of that one. But I'll tell you what, every hand I shook was pitching me stories. But none were very, very specific. And that's what gets you in. Now, also, you have to remember that the path to print often is paved by getting into digital. The website, the newsletters, other digital properties. These require so much material. They just devour material on a daily basis. And so the editors of the digital properties are always on the lookout for good stuff. And they're always on the lookout for stuff with traffic drivers. Things with numbers, 7 places that fans of Crazy Rich Asians should go in Singapore. 5 airlines that have been flying since the dawn of time that are still flying. 10 this, 10 that. Numbers are great. They love it. Okay? If you can break in through the digital, then you can get into print. Because remember, long term, your goal here isn't just to place a story. Your goal is to build a relationship. You want the editor to know that they can rely on you, that you've got good ideas, or if they have a good idea, that they can get in touch with you and get it executed. That long-term relationship is essential. Because if you look at the bylines, so many of them are the same people again and again and again. I know in my experience, I used maybe 24 people constantly. New people could break in, but they had to be really strong. And so keep at it, build that relationship, keep pitching them ideas, keep following up. Just don't be a pest. And you have to know that fine line, but I think you can discover it by the way they react to you. And if you do that, you will get into print. Hope this helped you. Thanks.